Welcome to the Weird Gun Game Show. I'm your host, Bubba TV24, and today I've got 10 more gun builds from the community to share with you. But before we begin, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has been in the comments submitting builds for the past long while. I've talked with tons of creative and great people, and it's been a pleasure hosting this show. However, today marks the season finale for the Weird Gun Game Show Season 1. I'll have a Weird Gun Game video next week doing a little wrap-up discussion about it, but for now, submissions are closed for the foreseeable future. I'm not sure when the show will return, but for now, let's go out with a bang. As always, Bubba TV24 is in the field to give you more information on the builds as we go on. So let's begin with number 10. Number 10 from @Weirix is a fun shotgun using the new Marrow Maker core. The build is grip, stock, barrel, FC 200SH, core, Marrow Maker, mag, Dragunov, sight, NP9. Those aren't zombies, Bubba, but they still need to be put down. Here we are with number 10 from @Weirix. This is a pretty cool shotgun build here, but it does require the Marrow Maker, so you will need to have that right off the bat. Here we go, stats on the side here. If you've never seen the show before, I'm going to talk a little bit about each gun, give some pros and cons, and then we're going to move on. I'm going to try and keep it as concise as possible, so that way we're not stuck on any one gun. So let's get into it. The first pro of this gun is that it has some pretty decent damage, very decent one-shot potential, and that for me is always a fun time when it comes to shotguns. That for me is one of the big contributing factors of whether I will like or dislike a shotgun just in general, is if it can one-shot. It also has a fairly fast reload, as you can see here. Boom, in, done. Pretty good. Don't remember the actual time. Once again, you'll have to go back and look at the stats page. It has a pretty decent range for a shotgun, and it has an okay fire rate. It's not the fastest shotgun that we have seen. I don't know why I jumped off and did that. Whoa, hello. But the fire rate is fairly decent over here at 84 RPM. Very usable fire rate. One of the cons for this is that it has a slight movement nerf. Now, it's not very big. It's a pretty small one. I think it was around 4%. So you're not really like super hyper nerfed or anything like that. It's not like one of the big ones where you're losing like 15 to 25% or anything like that. You probably won't even really notice the movement nerf, but it is there for people to know about. And of course, the other con is that you need to have the Marrow Maker core. If you don't know what the Marrow Maker core is, it was for the Halloween event, and it was part of the event where you had to unlock it by killing zombies. So if you don't have it, it's going to be unfortunate that you won't probably be able to use this gun then. So yeah, that is the other con. Other than that, really cool little build getting to use the new core. And with that, back to the studio. Number 9 from @Rip Emperor Slayer X is a recreation of the FMG9 from Counter-Strike. The build is core, Broza, barrel, G11, scope, C36C, stock, Scar L, mag, Chris Vector, grip, FC 200SH. Don't let the terrorists plant the bomb, Bubba. So our next gun here is a recreation of a foldable gun called the FMG9. I believe that the real gun that this is based on, it has this like foldable thing where it can basically fold up until it looks like a little, I don't know, like a little briefcasey type thing maybe, and it unfolds in half and then becomes a little SMG. So here's the build here, stats on the side, and away we go. This is my recreation of the gun. It's not perfect, I'm sure, but it is as close as I can possibly get it. I used a little reference photo on Google from it, so you guys can see it for yourself. But pretty cool little gun, and yeah, I never played CS, so I can't tell you how good it is there, but in this game, it's halfway decent. This guy's chasing me. It has a pretty fast fire rate, even though it's technically an assault rifle and not an SMG. It is getting to use the Broza core, which is a core that we don't really see a whole lot of because, well, it's relatively new. I don't know how many people actually have it, so that's a thing. The reload is incredibly fast. It's like a second and a half or something like that. So really, really fast reload. It also has a slight movement buff at like, I think it's like 4 or 5%. So just like with the last gun with the nerf, you probably aren't going to notice a 4 or 5% buff. Not really. It also has incredibly low recoil. If I take my mouse off the table, whoop, barely moves up. Very good for hitting people from far away. Although, here are the cons. You can hit people from far away, but the damage is not great. At range, it's about 11, and even up close, it's still not much better. It also has a little bit of a lower mag size, I believe at around 30, so you're gonna be reloading a lot, even though luckily the reload takes 1 second or so. So 1.9 second, 30 round mag, 15 damage, it drops down to 11. So those are your pros and cons there. If you're playing on some of the smaller maps, this might absolutely shred some enemies, so use it there instead of on these huge maps like this. Pretty cool build. Really like it from CS. Back to you in the studio. Number 8. Number 8 from @Assad Asif is a fast but fun AUG SMG style build. The build is barrel, Helltrooper, core, AUG, stock, G11, mag, FAMAS, grip, Winchester, sight, red dot. Run them through, Bubba. Number 8, we have ourselves a little bit of an AUG SMG style build. Stats over here on the right. Pros and cons, let's get into it. This has a fairly decent fire rate. It feels pretty good, feels very consistent. I wouldn't say it's like the fastest thing I've ever seen, but it is still pretty darn good. And it's also very usable. So you will be able to just straight up murk people pretty quickly if you hit your shots, which I am not. That's my own problem. Movement speed increase. There's a pretty decent movement speed increase. Not super fast, I don't think, but it is there. 6.1%. So a little bit more than the 4 or 5%, not by much. You know, this isn't like a 15 or 20% movement speed increase. It's nice to have it. Has a very fast reload, so you're going to be able to shoot and get back into the fight very quickly. Considering that the magazine is only 25 rounds, you're going to be flying through it pretty quickly. This server is ridiculously, they're full of people who are good, who I think are just auto shooting the crap out of me in most ways, but you know, it is what it is. It makes it very hard to do any sort of like testing and weird gun game show stuff when you got people who are sweating real hard. Fairly decent recoil, pretty low for the most part. It is a little wobbly on the horizontal, I think some, but nothing too bad. It could be worse. The other thing is that this gun has pretty low damage. I've seen a lot of AUG core builds, and this one's not bad. This one's one of the better ones if you're going for a more SMG vibe. But the damage on it, in my opinion, not the best. It's pretty good, but it's not great, and I'm just getting outshot like crazy by some of these people because, well, let's be real, they're not doing a show, so all of their guns are probably built out and kitted out to be as good as possible. I mean, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's doing movement tech and stuff. Like, what are we doing, bro? So yeah, overall, pretty decent build. Back to you guys in the studio. Number 7. Our number 7 is from @MinecraftPotato123. They've created a primary that is meant to look like a secondary pistol. Rip the Type 14. The build is barrel Maz 38, mag PP Bison, stock the Chief, core Scorpion, grip C36C, sight any. Confuse them with this build, Bubba. Our next build here is supposed to look like a pistol. Now I've made it to where the barrel is incredibly long. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I like longer barrels, so that's why I did it. I also made it to where, because this is the Chief stock, this little part sticks out here because I like that little idea from the 93R, the Beretta, that 3-round burst that has the little hand grip on the front, and that's kind of what I left that here for, is the idea. Anyway, stats here on the side. So this is a fun little build that it's supposed to look like a pistol that I am enjoying quite a lot. The pros. This is a pistol build. Well, it's not really a pistol build. It's not a secondary, it is a primary. It is a primary designed to look like a secondary, which is pretty cool. It has a pretty fast fire rate here at an 800 fire rate. You know, it's not the, like, look, It's not these crazy hyper fast builds that are like 1100 or 3000 or or whatever some of you guys are making. This one's a pretty more comparable competitive fire build than anything. It's just what we're kind of going for here. Has a pretty decent reload speed here, especially for a 64 round Bison mag, which is nice. I will say it also has a little bit of a movement speed buff as well, which is also nice. There's one con though, two cons. Damage drop off is a little bit rough. So damage drop off is pretty rough here. Decent damage within range, but then it almost immediately drops down by 10 points, which sucks. So that's not great either. The other thing is that initial recoil, pretty heavy. If I come over here and look at this, boom, I'm looking above the dummy there. And if you're at range, you basically want to look down at the ground once again and then shoot and then come up, because the recoil is going to push you up and then it's going to stabilize, because that's how recoil works in this game. Then you're going to be able to get your flat shots in. So if I look down, shoot, now I'm back on target. That's how you're going to have to deal with this gun. So if I want to shoot this guy at range, flat, there we go. I look down below him, shoot, it stabilizes, and then I can look anywhere. Boom. Those are the biggest issues and some of the best parts of it. Back to you guys in the studio. Number 6. Number 6 from @JohnWickHK is a rocket launcher. The build is barrel, showerhead, core, Heket 2, stock, plunger, grip, automat, optic, M60, mag, screwdriver. Blow them away, Bubba. All right, we have ourselves a bazooka. Stats over here on the right. I don't know how well this is going to work on this map, but we're going to give it a shot. This is an interesting build because I think even at range, I can still... Well, if I could hit that guy, I could probably have killed him, actually. This is a Heket core, so it's basically a sniper rifle where the bullets have been kind of split. I missed him. I hit him in the legs. I did change the front. The front color is supposed to be like the bright green, but I changed it to a more like neutrally green to match kind of like that RPG 7 look. You know, this is not the color that they suggested. That's okay. The pros are that this is a bazooka. There've been no bazookas in Weird Gun Game up until this point. Some people have tried, but they haven't been ones that I would be wanting to use. So to put it kindly, I think. Pros, it's a bazooka. It can one-shot if you hit them, which kind of hard to do. It's an extremely goofy build. Kind of have to use it like a shotgun, even though it is a sniper rifle. It does have some pretty darn good range though. So if I can like hit somebody at a distance, I would be able to show you. So we'll try it here on luxury and free-for-all. I don't know how successful I'm gonna be, but boom, still got it. Basically, it takes the one bullet from the Heket, splits it into two. It does like 168 damage if it hits. Cons, hard to use. This is a very difficult to use gun. You pretty much have to be on point with it and not miss at all ever, and I can't say that I can do that. So the biggest issue being the sights for me. They're the M60 sights. They're there for a vibe. They are specifically there to look a certain way. Yeah, they do the look justice, although I can't say that I like using them. And if there is any sort of deviation in the the spread, guess what? You're probably not going to hit anything. The reload time is the next big thing. Dude, I would love to hit somebody. Holy crap. Reload time is huge. It is long. It's the screwdriver as the mag, so it's already hard enough to use. And then you put on top of it like the Heket and stuff. It's one of those sorts of things. Make sure you're in a good spot where people can't kill you. There is a huge movement nerf to this gun. Because of the Heket core, you end up getting a 22% movement speed reduction. Pretty heavy. Reload time is 10 flippin' seconds. Get out of here. This is my spot. I've been digging on this. It's so dumb, but it's kind of fun if you can hit somebody with it. Pretty fun nonetheless, and have a good time with it. Back to you guys in the studio. Number 5. Number 5 is from @Yargasaurus. This gun is a chainsaw from the Terraria Calamity mod called the Photon Ripper. The build is barrel, Dominus, core, Negev, mag, Negev, grip, Helltrooper 33, stock, Type 99, sight, P90. Plug your social media to them, Bubba. So this is supposed to be a build from the game Terraria, and it in particular is a chainsaw from something called the Calamity mod. And I think the chainsaw is called the Photon Ripper. Stats on the right side. I do think that this looks really cool with this paint job. I kind of copied what I could from the post that Yard put on their YouTube channel, and then painted it as similarly as I could. Not perfectly, but I tried. I couldn't see the back of the gun, but I did have some similar stuff. Chainsaw in the game is very colorful. It has a lot of, I think it's probably some sort of like rotating rainbow effect or like RGB style effect, you know, like rainbow on the blades. It's supposed to be a chainsaw. The pros for this are that it is super fast firing. This thing is around, I think it's at 999 RPM, which is pretty darn good and fast. Oh my gosh, I'm getting one shot though. It's pretty cool that that's a thing. So the speed of this thing if you hit people, it does just absolutely rip through them. Man, it's pretty great for that. It does have a really large magazine because it's the Negev magazine. Oh, I fell off. Oh, I'm not dead. What in the world? Well, I might as well be. So it has that 200 round magazine, almost literally 1,000 RPM here. Has a little bit of a health buff at 15, I believe. I'm not sure if I have a buff from any of my pistols or anything of that nature. I don't think so. I'm just gonna keep holding down the daggone trigger. Would you come to me, boys? I'm gonna chainsaw you. I'm gonna chop you down. Lots of damage. Get out of here. I'm gonna be out of ammo. Yes, okay. And it has some very low recoil. Cons. Well, you're looking at one of the cons right now. It does have lower damage overall. It's not the highest damaging gun ever, but we are going for a vibe and a look here. It shoots so fast that you're practically just out shooting almost anybody at this point. The reload is pretty rough at 10 seconds though, and it has a very slight movement nerf. Overall, pretty fun build. But yeah, cool looking gun. I tried to do it justice as much as I could, Yarg, but it is what it is, man. Nothing's perfect. Back to you guys in the studio. Number 4. Number 4 from @uncleargoal takes the idea of weird gun game from the real world. This gun, called the Stinger, was a real gun made up of parts from the bar, Garand, and a homemade trigger. The build is barrel, bar, core, M1919, grip, bar, mag, M1919, sight, any LMG iron sight, stock, M1 Garand. Storm the beaches, Bubba. What if I told you that weird gun game was something that also happened in real life? So, this build is actually a historic weapon called the Stinger. The Stinger was a gun that was cobbled together from a bunch of different parts in World War II. There is an awesome video that I watched talking about it from the Fat Electrician. If you don't know who that is, he is a very celebrates American history and people who, essentially soldiers who did cool things and stuff during the war and in different wars and stuff like that. So if you're into really cool like American history and you want it done in like, you want to listen to it in like a very entertaining and funny way, the Fat Electrician is absolutely one of the best out there for it. Huge fan of the guy. I think he's great. This gun in real life was made together of multiple different guns: the bar barrel, the Garand stock, the 1919 body. Any LMG irons was the requirement. I used the 1919 sight, and then the 1919 box mag is what we've got. Reference picture for the real thing up here. So this is actually a really fun build. Now, I don't know about in real life how quickly it fired. I don't know if the game has a sort of one-to-one with that or anything. And I know I complain sometimes about fire rate in this game and how I'm like, hey, you know, if it's under a certain fire rate, it doesn't feel like, it usually doesn't feel good. That holds true for most weapons except for this one. This gun feels great, and it's only at around 450 RPM. That's probably because the other parts that are attached to it or whatever, but that are slowing it down. Really good, and maybe it's because of the 30 damage that it does per shot within its damage range. Let's talk about the pros and cons. Pros: I love that this gun is literally weird gun game in real life, and it's history. That's my favorite thing about this. That's why I chose it. It also let me go and watch Fat Electrician again, which I'm always gonna find time to watch the Fat Electrician if I can. Oh, take us to historical map. Take us to historical map so I can use historic gun. 30 damage, 22 after the drop off. So 22 is still really, really good. Has a health increase. I believe I'm getting a 20% health increase from this gun, which is really nice. So I'm getting that extra health and I am dying less often. The next thing is that the recoil is pretty darn low. It's very controllable. 100 rounds, easy to use. I'm digging on it a lot here. I actually don't even mind the sights on this being iron. Of course, I'd put like a red dot or something on it because that's just me, but keeping with the theme of the video here, keeping with the theme of the build. You're gone, you're gone, you're gone. Oh yeah, this thing just mows people down. Cons. The fire rate being slow is a con. A lot of people aren't gonna like that because a lot of people really like their fast fire rates, and I am one of those people. But the daggone 30 damage, I think, makes up for it quite a lot. And there's a big movement nerf. You lose 20%, almost 20% movement speed. And of course, the reload on it, if we take a look at it, is pretty brutal. It's long. So this was a really cool build. I really enjoy it. Back to you in the studio. Number 3. Number 3 comes from at Nocturne V4. It's a recreation of the arm cannon from the beloved Roblox classic Arsenal. The build is core, musket, barrel, oil, grip, pistol, pistol, mag, musket, stock, lightning, sight, paintball. If you get a kill, you'll have to move to another gun, Bubba. If you guys have ever played Arsenal, this might look a little familiar to you. This is based off of the arm cannon from Arsenal. Here are the stats over here, and away we go. You're gonna notice a few things about this gun right away. One of them, well, it's right in your face. So let's talk about the pros and the cons. This is the musket core. So as such, it has really high damage. Now, whether or not you're gonna be able to hit anything is a different story, but if you do hit something, you're going to do quite a bit of damage. So high damage. The reload is actually fairly okay. I mean, it could be longer, trust me, but it's actually not that bad. And it has some okay range. 270 studs is what your range is, really. The cons. There is a massive movement nerf. As you can see, it's really, really slow. I think it's like 15 or 18% or something like that. Pretty severe. So make sure you're playing a certain way to really make this work. I missed completely. There's also, like I said, a big damage drop off. So if you're outside of your range, I'm not gonna hit that guy. He's gonna hit me though. He can hit me from across the map because of the auto aim and the auto shoot, and I can't hit him because the game hates me. The damage drop off is pretty big. Go from 130 down to 70. So you're losing 60 damage there just from backing up a couple hundred studs. Makes sense, I guess, really. The other big con is that this thing, well, I should have said it first, but it takes up literally 55% of your screen. Let's be real. You are losing so much screen real estate here. You might not be able to see what the heck you're doing. The other thing is this. The arm cannon has a fuse on it. Well, you see this little gray dangly thing kind of poking off to the side there on the white top there? That's the fuse. That fuse is your sight. So good luck seeing. And here's the thing. Your sight's not really in the middle of the gun. It's off to the side. So you have to shoot. If you want to shoot something, let me see if I can find something I can look at here and show you. Let's say you want to shoot this right here, the dark brown part of the hay bale. If you look at it like this, you're gonna miss. You actually have to look at it like this to put the reticle right on the middle of it, because the reticle is in the middle of the gun, even though it looks like it should be there. That is going to really mess with you if you're not careful. Cool build. I think it's really funny. I loved Arsenal, played a lot of it. It was a great game, and then it became not a great game, but we don't talk about that. Keep it with the good times. Anyway, back to you all in the studio. Number 2. How in the world did at Era the Emo Cat know I was sick? With number 2. This classic weapon from Resident Evil is called the Pale Rider. The build is barrel M40, core Winchester, grip DP27, mag lobotomizer 44, sight Arasaka, stock M870 breacher. Get out of Raccoon City, Bubba. Well, our number 2 is a really long boy from the Great Raccoon City itself, from Resident Evil, built by Atera the Emo Cat. Here are the stats here. I'll show a picture for reference up here. So this is a Winchester core, and I always do love a good Winchester build, but you know, you gotta not suck to use it, and I suck pretty bad tonight. This game is just full of people who are like either really good or they are getting the auto shoot feature knocked way out of the park for them. Let's talk pros and cons here. The pros, this is, let's be real, it's a really stupid Resident Evil gun that is hilarious, and that's why I love it. Look at this daggone long barrel. Look at this stupid barrel, but hey, it was in the game. Huge barrel. I don't even know what it was based off, probably the 500 Win Mag or something dumb like that, but still pretty cool. The build itself is really nice. Hey, what are the other pros? It's a revolver, or at least as close to a revolver as we can get in WGG. It has some pretty decent damage. It is the Winchester core after all. The Winchester core does do I believe 50 damage flat normally. Fucking hits? Daggone, I suck so bad. 51 damage, okay. Has a very small movement speed buff, and the reload speed is also pretty decent, even though I only have 6 shots. So if I blop, we'll just shoot all 6, show you what's up. It's pretty fast for what it is, you know. The cons, you do need stuff from the lobotomizer. We do have lobotomizer stuff here. The magazine in particular is the lobotomizer mag. You will need that. If you don't have it, then you're in trouble, which I don't believe is currently in the game anymore. I'm not the biggest fan of the Arasaka sights. I feel like I am missing tons of shots. I'm gonna be honest though, probably not the sight's fault. It's actually probably the length of the gun that's the issue, because look how far away these sights are from each other. The front sight is so small compared to the back ones. So yeah, I'm putting a scope on it on this map because this map is huge, nothing but lanes, and the for me the Arasaka sights just don't do anything for me on this map. So it makes it kind of hard, I think, because the gun is such a long boy gun that it's hard to use. I also apologize if if I'm not showing it off in like the best way. I'm gonna be completely honest, a lot of it is because the people that I am fighting against, I think, are all using the auto shoot feature, and so I am not able to really compete with that on some ways, especially on a map that's nothing but straight down hallways on a gun that is as slow as this one, because you do need a certain play style to play with this gun. Darn near impossible to compete with people who have that auto shoot ability turned on, because they don't miss. If they're looking right at you, they don't miss. So that's one of the big issues. Still a great gun. It's a lot of fun when you're not getting just slammed by auto shoot stuff. Anyway, back to you guys in the studio. Number 1, not to be outdone by a sword at mattH.C9533, has created one of my favorite weapons, an axe. The build is barrel, Hecate 2, grip, core, musket, stock, taco, mag, shalshat, sight, marrow maker. Chop them down, Bubba. Ha, our number 1. Look at this bad boy. Look at it. It's so good. It's an axe. As you can see, look, we have our axe blade here, the back of it. This thing is awesome unless you want to use it. If you actually want to use it, it's not awesome. Let's talk about it. We can only really talk about this from a stats perspective. So here they are right here, because this thing is completely unusable. Period. Just unusable. So let's take a look. Pros. It is an axe. This thing is freaking awesome. It's so cool looking. What a great build and design. Yeah, really, really loving it. Now, I made it smaller than what it actually should be. So the build directions said to take the barrel and move it all the way here. The problem is that if you move it all the way here and you move it to where they said to, which was to put this stuff down here, you wouldn't be able to see any of it on my screen, because the inspect, if we go in, the inspect of it doesn't actually let you see much here. That's why I made it actually smaller than what it is or what it's supposed to be, but I made it to where kind of covered here, so that way whatever. Still a really funny and cool build. So pros, it's an axe. It looks like an axe. It's really cool axe. The end. It has very high damage if you can hit anything. Also, did I say it looks like an axe? And it has a little bit of a health boost at like 10 health. I'm not gonna get a kill with this at all because here's the cons. Whatever this is, it will one-shot. What am I supposed to look at though? What am I looking at? So yeah, that's a thing. The biggest con though, outside of not being able to see, is that I'm not able to hold 2 of them at one time. I would like to have one in each hand, and I would love to be able to swing it. Can't do that. The game won't let me. However, the other cons, serious cons, come down to recoil, fire rate, and then there's a big movement nerf. So you do got to watch out for those things. I don't recommend using this in any serious capacity outside of just whatever. I would love to get a legitimate kill with it though, other than outside of training dummies. That would be pretty great. I don't know if that's going to happen though. But it is really fun. It's stupid. It's funny. Matt got mad that they were getting outplayed by a sword, so what'd they do? Hey, they made an axe, and I respect that. It's not about getting mad, it's about getting even, and you got even, you got first on this one. Really cool build, super awesome. Let's head back to the studio. Once again, a big thank you to everyone who submitted their builds. This marks the end of Season 1 of Weird Gun Game Show. It's been a pleasure hosting the show, and if you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll discuss them next week. Thank you all so much for watching.